Hello, everybody, and welcome to the book launch of The Magpie Winter, written by one of the most beautiful souls in this world, Renira Barclay. See her face. Renira, you're muted. Can we unmute you?
Yes, Johnny's just giving me yet more champagne. I hope I'm not going to cry.
Oh, So Renira, you wrote this, you started writing this book about a year ago, is that correct?
It is. I've actually found out exactly when I started writing because I've got my nature diary out and my notes from Carl's workshop when I actually started to write. And I started to write on the 5th of January,
wow,
2019.
So, less than a year. That's super quick to write a book and get it published, so absolute congratulations for that.
Thank you. I had to get it self-published, but
doesn't
I think
matter.
No.
Is it really Sharon?
It really doesn't matter.
Yes, it really is Sharon.
Hi, Johnny. So Renira, I know you guys you started on the champagne early. Yeah. So Renira, tell us a little bit about where this inspiration for this ghost story came from. Introduce us to how it came about.
I will. So before I even start, Serena, who is on this at this wonderful party, she is also the great granddaughter of the ghost. Yes, she is, and so she. So respect to that, Serena. And it came about when I was on a family constellations workshop in Brighton, and Sarah was sitting beside me, so she can vouch for this. And we had to think of a subject that was relevant for us. And I was thinking about writing this book, and I didn't really know what form it was going to come into or anything. And that was in the January 2019. And so we had to tune in. You stand there, you have to tune into the ancestors. And of course, being adopted, I have two sets of ancestors. So I've got Sally's side of ancestors going back, and then, you know, what I call Mummy and Daddy and Shane and Serena, and that set of ancestors going back. So I always have to be quite clever with that because you've got two things going on. And we tuned into that, and I realized that it was coming from the Shane and Serena and Mummy and Daddy side, my adoptive side. And I got so clearly in my ear that it was my great-grandmother. So I am your great-grandmother, and she said, write my story. And it was as clear as anything. And I remember telling the woman, she was, I know the woman that was running it, and she said, oh, that's made me go all kind of goosey, just hearing that. And so that was January, whatever it was. And then in the February, I started to write on Carl's workshop. It was day 5. And my words were literally, I started with once upon a time. There were 2 children called Camellia and Finn. There he is in his tie. And then I thought I crossed that out. And then it was the November of 1962. And when winter is just around the corner, crossed all that out. And they lived in a fine stone house in Sussex, crossed all that out. And then I wonder, what's the matter with Finn? I'm sorry, Sharon, why do his legs not work properly on a walk? I don't like this weather, and I don't like that tree up ahead. And that pretty much is how the book started. So that was written within a workshop. And I realized that the book needed to be wrote. And I even drew the picture for the cover, my first idea for the cover, again, in a workshop, just kind of doodling away. Yeah. So it just came in like that.
Wow. So most of the people that are on this call right now know you and love you. But for anybody who doesn't know who you are, could you tell us just a little brief synopsis of a little bit more about this book and the fact that this is your story?
Yes. Gosh, big question. Having just done a 2.5-hour webinar and having had half a glass of champagne, big question. I think it, I would say that it's definitely come through. The book wrote itself, so and it needed to be told. So it's really, obviously about relationships, but it's particularly about mother and daughter relationships. I would say that's really at the heart of it. And how, and again, mothers and babies, because some of you have read the book, but the book is actually very, very sad. And it was Serena, again, not giving too much away, but Serena told me what my great grandmother died of, but I'm not going to tell everyone that, because there are people going to be watching this who don't know. And yes, and just the importance, I think, of the connection between mother and baby and how powerful that is. And Sally is there, and I'm sure that, so I said to Shane, actually, I wonder what Mummy would have thought of it, because I write from the viewpoint of what we call her Angela, don't we, Shane? And we decided on that name, indeed, in the car. We decided Angela was a good name, because you can see Angela is actually quite scattered, and she's always trying to do the right thing and do as she's told, but she's not really connecting with her children. And that's why it was so important for Shane and me to have each other, because there was no one, there was no one else really. I mean, Mr Impey has come in. Anyway, I'm going a little bit off track, but
so just to bring that back. So Angela, the mother, is the adopted mother.
Yes, Mummy.
Of little Camellia.
Yes, she is. So that's her, and it was quite tricky. I remember saying to Johnny, when I was actually writing Angela's part, to get into her head, because the book is written in 4 parts. I say 4 parts. There are 4 voices. So you have Camellia, who's 6.5. You have Angela, who's she's 30. So she was 36.5. Very easy. And then you have the nanny, who I've made our beloved nanny Buffy, who Shane will well remember. I've made her the nanny, just remembering tuning into her. And I think Buffy then would have only been, I don't know, 23 or something. And then there are very tiny bits from Finn, but they're very relevant. So he has a voice too. And yes, I think Angela was difficult, although Johnny, you cheered me up, didn't you? And you said, no, the Angela bits are good. And it got easier and easier when you're having to get into somebody else's head as you're writing. But again, I wonder what, for Sally, what our mother would have thought of this book. I think she would have loved it. So I think both mummies would have loved it.
Sally, would you like to just come on and just comment on your point of view of this?
Yeah, so I do believe Mom would celebrate the story completely. And I think whilst you've said, Renira, there's sadness in it, there's deep joy, and it just comes through with your voice as if you are reading it to us. And I know Mom, she just would have heard that, and the warmth and the love and the humor that it is told with. It's just magical. She would have loved it. Definitely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally.
And Finn, can we hear from Finn?
Come on, Shane.
Come on, Shane.
Come on, unmute. He doesn't know. Come on, Katie, unmute him. It's all the humour coming from Finn and Mr Impey. Come on, Finn. Shane.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
You are. Shane, what was it like reading the part of Finn in the book?
Do you know, it was amazing because it brought back so many memories. And things that I'd completely forgotten about. And I think, Renira, you've done brilliantly getting all the characters pretty much spot on. Very impressed.
Well, I have to say, Shane reminded me, again, not giving too much about it, but Shane had to get big books to make him tall enough to be able to unlock his gate. It was considered okay to lock a child with a sort of chicken wire gate into their room. And the only way that Shane could get out was a big pile of books that made him tall enough so that he could unbolt the gate.
And I used to do it regularly. And then come in, wake you up, and then go and let myself back in again.
Yeah, but you'll find out from that in the book.
Yeah, it's fascinating just seeing, because having read the book, you kind of get a mental picture of what Finn looks like, and what Camellia looks like, and what Angela looks like, and what the ghost looks like, and yeah, to actually see him there, and just to imagine what you were like as a little boy, Shane, is
much better looking.
And that was the absolute quality of your book, Renira. When I read the book, it was like I was there. Every scene that you were writing, I could visualize it. And I think I kept writing to you, didn't I, saying, oh, you ought to do a picture of this, and you ought to do a picture of this. It should be an illustrated book. So
yes, I mean, that would be so lovely. But when I think the book would probably cost about £3 million because of all the pictures. I mean, if I'd published normally, they would never have let me do that. But then there was part of me that thought, I want the reader to get their imagination of the, you know, how Camellia looks. But actually, Johnny, if you could just pass me that picture just there. Now, I am going to just, I know, Sharon, you want to ask, and somebody bunched me, which is rather lovely. If you just bring that to the fore. So in the story, yeah. I don't know if you can see that.
yes, we can.
Yeah. So in the story, and this happened in real life, and Shane will vouch that as well, Camellia and Finn are drawn by the Spanish artist. And this is indeed me in the summer of 1963. So that will give that an idea of actually what Camellia looked like. That is me in 63. So there she is. Hair, well, I'm off to the hairdresser tomorrow, quite similar. There you go.
And still very beautiful with amazing eyes.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so awesome. So the book is, if you were to give a percentage, how closely to your childhood would you say this book was?
Shane's nodding. Pretty close. I'd say pretty close. Obviously, I brought characters in, but the crumpets, the being made to go hunting. I mean, my mother and I, there was no question of saying no. It was just expected. And Shane, do you remember we weren't allowed to go into the drawing room without knocking? Because there might be Mummy might be having a very, very important conversation. And indeed, this is going slightly off piece, but Shane, you told me a story where you did go in and you really got told off and told to go straight back out again. So it was, I think my parents were just in their own world and it was very social. And if you had a nanny, you expected the nanny to look after you. And indeed, that does happen. But you will see as the book progresses, again, I can't give too much away, but right towards the end, there's a bit where Mummy does something for me, which is fairly inconsequential, but I was in floods of tears just writing it, because it was like Mummy had kind of got me and wasn't just organising a party or buying a fantastic present or telling me to go riding, she had actually done something for me that meant the world. And you will know when you see that bit in the book.
Wow. So if some people watching this may not have kind of gathered that you were both adopted.
We were both adopted.
Both adopted. At what age were you adopted?
6 weeks.
Okay. And what age do you start the book at?
Oh, 6.5. 6. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
6.5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. But yeah. I hadn't thought of that. Well thought of, Sharon. Yes. Yeah. And we know, do we not, that there's something magical that happens between the age of 6 and 7 when we stop being in a hypnagogic state and we start coming online, as it were, and having our own thoughts and good point.
Wow. Okay, so would you like to read us a little bit from the book?
I would, if you're all sitting comfortably. And just hats off before I even start, just to say the people that helped me is Steph as well. I know Steph is on this call, who helped me so hugely with just thinking about the genesis of this book. And I remember she said to me, "So who's this book for?" And I said, "It's a universal book. It's like anybody could read it, because essentially it's about love. It's about love and connection." Yeah, exactly. Is it not? And Sarah, who's in the book, Sarah is here, and who read the book all as the chapters were evolving, and Johnny, Sarah, the ones that read as it was going along. And Annabelle, who's on here. So the characters that are actually in the book, Annabelle is my best musical friend, and she was very important because there's a lot of music. There's a lot of musical connection within the book as well, because we find out that Mercy is a musical ghost.
Oh,
so she is a musical ghost. And so anyway, the orange. So I'm wearing orange, and just showing that the orange. I was asked what colour ribbon marker I would like, and we chose orange. It's starting to fray a bit, but the orange and the grey is really rather lovely, I think.
And can you hold the book so we can see the ghost?
Well, the ghost is under that tree.
Under the tree. Oh, go that way a bit.
That way?
That's it. Perfect. There she is, underneath the tree. With little Camellia just standing there. And the magpie, I mean, when you find out the
connections, with the magpie and Katie, my sister-in-law, Finn's wife, Shane's wife, said that after she'd read it, she used to be superstitious about magpies, and after you read it now, no, you're not. No, she's shaking her head, no. And there was a magpie just flew across before we even started. Right. So, just as a taster, it's very brief, but it gives you an idea. So this is just before we have the hunting scene on the 8th of December 1962. And when the publisher asked me, "When do you want to be published?" It was obviously going to be December, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I realized that the 8th of December is today, and it is a Tuesday. And the weather was just like it was this morning, just very foggy and cold. So here we go, part one.
Part one.
Okay, here we go. November 1962. Oh, I'm gonna have a sip. Hang on, let's get the priorities right. What's the matter with Finn? Why don't his legs work properly on a walk? I don't like this weather, and I don't like that tree up ahead in the fog. My pram wheels are getting very muddy, and the tree scares me. Nanny Jan, I say, what are those things hanging in that tree? I am pleased Nanny Jan is listening. Those are ash keys, Camellia. That is an ash tree. Another sort of tree for my list. Wait for me. It's Finn. We've been walking along the lane for half an hour. Nanny Jan says it's good for our constitution. I turn my head and my duffel coat goes over my eye. Now I'm like Finn with his eye patch. I think his eye patch is stopping his legs from working. Poor old Finn. Nanny Jan and I wait for him to catch up, and we talk about ash keys. I spend so much time waiting for Finn to catch up. It makes me sad. My legs are 6.5 years old and quite long, but Finn's are 4.5 years old and quite short. I suppose he can't help it. Who do those keys belong to? Asks Finn, pointing. Witches. Nanny Jan's reply is automatic. Finn's eye is very round, and I bet the one behind the patch is round too. Nanny Jan is walking on. I check baby in the pram. She's still asleep, and her eyelashes are beautiful and black. This is Dorothy baby, and she's my favourite. Out of all my dolls, she enjoys walks the best. Why do witches need keys? Finn's voice is low. Nanny Jan is way ahead. I sigh, patting Dorothy baby's blanket. My feet are cold in my new furry boots. Finn will need an answer, otherwise he will whine. Why do witches need keys? Here we go. They don't, I say. Nanny Jan's just being silly. Finn pushes his eye patch. He does a lot of pushing his eye patch these days. Poor Finn. It's for his own good, Nanny Jan says, and so does Mummy, so it must be true. I saw something behind, he says. Nobody noticed what he says. Well, I do, but I'm not going to say anything to that. Finn catches me up. Are the witches like Gretel's witch? I look at him. I know exactly what he means. He goes on about that fairy tale. I check Dorothy baby again and march on. Finn's getting left behind again, and I can't see him very well through the fog. It's getting dark. Why can't Nanny Jan notice properly that Finn's legs are tired? Why does it always have to be me? Something behind me, says Finn. He turns towards home. It's probably one of the dogs, I say. I know how to calm him. I wonder if he's noticed both dogs are behind Nanny Jan, who's ahead of us. Banger's little legs are brown with mud, just like my pram wheels. Bramble's black tail goes wag wag. Finn hasn't moved. I saw it. I sigh. The dog's lie hasn't worked. Nanny Jan, I shout, stop! I see her shoulders are annoyed. I push my pram up to Finn. Where is it now? Finn pushes the patch off his eye and points down the lane into the fog. Perhaps you were seeing things. I know I'm sounding like Mummy. Finn's mouth is pressed into a line. It was there. Nanny Jan walks back to us. Does your eye hurt? She offers. No. Finn sits down in the road. He's gone on strike. He does this. I saw it. His voice is very quiet. It's getting dark. A duck flies over our heads, home to her pond, I should think, and a blackbird is calling goodnight in the hedge. Nanny Jan bends down to Finn, replacing the patch onto his eye. Then she lifts him to his feet. Home, James. Her voice is kind. She takes Finn's hand and tells him to march. The dogs run ahead. They know it's nearly dinner time. Daddy gives them their dinner and I like to help. My pram wheels are squeaking now. It's very cold and all around is more and more fog. The leaves on the lane are slimy and crushed. I steer my pram through them, avoiding a big bit of earth. Finn is chatting now to Nanny Jan. His legs always work better when we're going home. He knows we're having crumpets for tea. So do I, and so does Dorothy baby. The light is going. There you go.
We're sat here going, don't stop. Don't stop.
Oh well, the next thing is we're into December the 8th, yes, but that just gives people a taster. So yes, and Shane, I think you can validate the fact we went on hugely long walks, did we not?
Hang on, I'm just unmuting.
You're here. We can hear
We
you.
used to go for monumentally long walks, and Renira is completely right. I was always dragging behind, especially going to the pig farm. I don't know if you remember.
Well, it's that walk. It's that very walk. That is the walk. That was the longest walk. And it was far too far for somebody of age 4.5.
Well, it was about 2 miles.
It was 2 miles.
You
Yes,
don't even walk there now.
Yes. And I think then anyone we haven't been introduced to, you find out pretty soon that actually Shane suggests the name Mercy for the ghost, because we feel we can't just call her the ghost. So obviously that is all completely imagined. But I felt the ghost, Mercy, has become a very real person. And you will see as you carry on reading the book, how Mercy becomes too much for poor little Camellia, age 6.5, and she is up to all sorts of tricks. And because essentially she wants to get herself noticed and she wants to get her message across. And it is spooky. There will be people, I often say to them, which bits do you find the most spooky? Because I was really interested. And there's a bit with Sarah and me at the end of the garden, which is truly spooky. And I remember sitting there and just saying, okay, let's just feel into this. What would be very spooky? And lots of people say that's the worst bit. There are other glove puppets, which other people find spooky. And Melanie, who's not on this call at the moment, but she's in the book, she gave me the idea for the fox puppet. You'll find, yes, he's up to all sorts of tricks as well. So.
So every child, well, some child's nightmares come true in your book, and that's what's so wonderful about your book, Renira, is, and you quite rightly said just before you read that chapter of the book, that this book will appeal to everybody. You know, teenagers. I guess there's probably a lower limit because it is a ghost story and it can be a bit scary. But yeah, but you know, teens, people of any age really are going to absolutely adore reading your book.
I think so. I think from the age of 8, I think you would be well able to read this book. I mean, maybe
or be read too.
Sorry?
Or read too. Have somebody read it to you.
Oh, actually, yes. And then if I could just say, there's old Nanny in the book, and Shane will remember old Nanny well, and Serena too, I'm sure. And she represents in the book unconditional love, and still does. Shane, would you not say that? Yes, yeah.
I've got a picture of her above my desk.
There you are.
Wow. And one of the other characters that I think that we do need to mention is Mr Impey.
Oh.
So could you just draw a little picture in our minds of who Mr Impey is?
Mr Impey is based on my dearest friend Geoffrey Driver, who was our vicar at Cowfold. He's now in America. And so I didn't realize, and then I chose the name Impey because we have the lovely Sarah Impey here, but actually the name Mr Impey was just so perfect for him. And I didn't realize how integral he was to the book, in that he believes in Camellia. So we have a vicar that actually believes in her. We have a nanny, the vicar totally believes in her. The nanny takes a while to believe in her. And obviously Camellia has her friends, Sarah, Annabelle, who's on the call, and Melanie Ann. She's actually Mel. But Mr Impey provides such humour and merriment. I would say Camellia is actually quite serious, and I think probably I am quite serious, but Finn and Mr Impey provide all the humour. And Finn is very suspicious of Mr Impey at the beginning because he thinks Mr Impey is going to steal the jelly babies out of the sweets cupboard. He's very suspicious.
And as you said, Renira, this is absolutely a book about relationships and the relationship, or the trust that, and the relief even when you find out that Mr Impey actually believes her is.
Oh, that's absolutely huge. It's when you, because it's all very well Sarah believing her and seeing it, Sarah is able to see the ghost, because by no means not everybody's able to see the ghost, but when Mr Impey takes on board everything she says, and also when he sees the ghost, the relief, and then towards the end when Mr Impey actually takes control, when I say takes on the responsibility, Camellia doesn't have to do it all herself. That is just a huge relief for her. And it's a grown up as an advocate for her, I think, because in those days, children can be heard, seen and not heard, and preferably Shane not seen either, quite frankly, so that we can get on with our parties and whatever we're busy doing. And I think for Mr Impey, who actually saw her and heard her as a grown-up, was huge. And then that brings on board the other two nannies. So there's another nanny who's able to see the ghost, who is based on a lovely, lovely nanny who's still alive. And she's very important to the story. But as I wrote the story, I realized how these characters were taking on their own energy. And I guess that's what happens with a novel. So yes, and it's sad, but it's happy sad, and
it has a wonderful twist at the end.
It has a wonderful twist at the end, which, thank you, Sharon, which is actually thanks to you, which is very important and very true. Yeah,
absolutely.
Somebody has voice. Yeah,
somebody has voice. So, would Shane / Finn like to say anything else?
I would like to say how immensely proud I am of you for writing it. I think it's absolutely divine, and it reminds me so much of my younger days and how incredibly close we both were.
I know, Shane. And can I just also say, when I asked you at your son Hubert's 30th birthday party, I can still remember that moment. That's a magical moment. When I asked you, I said, I was nervous because Katie was reading it, but I didn't know that you'd actually finished it. So we were in November 2019, and I said, Shane, what did you think? And you said, I absolutely loved it, and that was great. But the biggest thing that really got to me was when you just said, thank you. Yeah, it meant so much.
Well, it meant a lot to me as well.
Yes, so it is a very special book, and I am immensely proud of it. I have to say that there will be other people now reading this book and making their own world of it, because I think you do immerse yourself in a world of, my dog really was called Banger. She was a very dear dog. Always got in the way, Banger, and did a lot of panting. My horse really was called Robin. Henry really was the groom, and Miss Wiggins really was my teacher. So there are lots that I've kept the names the same.
Beautiful.
And they were all part of growing up, were they not, Shane?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Johnny, don't disappear there, because I'm going to call on you in a minute.
Yes, they do. Yeah, no, she's going to call on you in a minute. Put a bit more in the glass. That's it.
Top up the champagne. Top up the champagne. Sally, how are you feeling? Anything you would like to say to Renira?
Yeah, just deeply moved, and very, very happy on one side and sad on another side, because this would have given Mom such amazing insight to your life. And I know she longed for that. So yeah, I just can't wait for my family to read it. When Renira did send me the copy of it, and I had it on, in fact, it was an iPad that Renira gave to Mom, that Renira then gave to me when Mom passed on, and I was reading it. I remember reading aloud and just laughing with the tears running down my face in some of the passages, and reading it to my husband, and he was just saying, Renira's here, she's sitting right next to us, she's reading it. I mean, yeah, just absolutely magical. And I am gonna, well, I've already recommended it to everybody that I know. Sadly, I'm not sure we'll get it in South Africa except via Amazon, and a lot of stuff gets stolen on the way here. So yeah, but just amazing, Renira. And
thank you. We'll get one out by courier or something, because I know that 2 Wolf Halls disappeared when they went out your way. So,
yes.
and you know, this is right up here there with Wolf Hall, let's face it. So
oh, much better, much better. Yeah, just and so happy to be part of this when it's launched. And yeah. Just
thank you for joining.
Super.
Yes, thank you, Sally.
Thanks, Sharon.
And for anybody who's not quite sure of the connection, Sally is your sister, your birth mother's daughter, and your real sister.
Yes. So yeah. So she is. So we share the same womb.
Yes.
The same womb, but not at the same time.
No. So Sally is 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
She always will be.
I will.
Who else? Thank you, Sally. Who else have we got,
Sharon,
that would has anything that would like to say to Renira?
Annabelle. I want Annabelle to say something.
Yes.
Go on, Annabelle. Shane and Annabelle did
Annabelle.
lots of super dancing. Go on, Annabelle. Unmute. Yay.
Right.
Annabelle.
I'm unmuted. Well, I haven't read the book yet. I've just got it. I am longing to read it, absolutely longing to read it. And I think it's a fantastic achievement. And, you know, Renira and Shane were just so much part of my childhood. I think, Renira, we met, at Miss Wiggins, did we not, when we were 4? When we were 4, so you are my oldest friend. So Shane, I've known you since you were 2.
Well, I tagged along.
Yeah, you did indeed. And yeah, I'm longing to read it, and it's a joy to be here. It's a joy to see Renira and Shane. Shane, I haven't seen you for
I've seen you for years.
And yeah, fantastic, bravo, well done. And just can't wait to read it, and can't wait to see you as well when we're able to do that kind of thing.
Thank you so much, Annabelle. And you were integral to the story, because you're my musical friend, and that's how we brought. The book has so much music in it, and I couldn't write without music. So there's a bit where we're trying to work out Silent Night as little 6-year-olds at your piano in your home, in your dining room. And I say, gosh, it's like drawing with music, because we both play by ear. Not everybody plays by ear, but Annabelle, you and I do.
Yeah, we do. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Beautiful. Anybody else?
They've gone shy.
Oh, yes,
good.
Steph.
Steffi's coming in.
Yes, so I was very privileged to be able to read the very first copy, and I was along there, and I just wanted to also highlight the immense amount of work and dedication that Renira has put into this, and the skill, the researching, the detail, and the beauty of it is incredible. And And I can't wait to actually read a hard copy, because that is so special holding it in my hands. And I still think there should be a fully illustrated edition, whether it's 3 million or less. But I just think it's such a sort of incredibly talented lady in so many ways. And yeah, you deserve every success, and I wish you all the best for the release. And I'm going to put a really nice Amazon review on for you. So yeah, all the best.
Thank you so much, Steffi. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody
Alcohol
else?
is kicking in.
Alcohol's kicking in.
Sarah, is Sarah gone? Sarah, go on.
Yeah, no, I just wanted
Go
to
on.
say, actually, just as an ad, if everyone puts a review on Amazon that's read it, it'll keep you up on the I can't even think straight, but it keeps
The hit
your
parade.
Yes, that's it.
But actually, what's interesting with Amazon, thank you, Sarah, at the moment, I checked this morning at 7:30 when I realised we were also doing Gene Key 3, and it said this book it will be available, you'll get it in between 1 to 2 months. So I think that's because it's probably still sitting at Gardner's in a, the man did promise to take it in, didn't he, Johnny? So we don't know, but I can still send books out. So like Serena, yours is in the post. Mr. Postman is bringing yours right now. Karani, yours is there. Sam, yours is going to be in the proper post. Anya, I will post yours. Annabelle's got hers. Lizzie Jefferson is, I can deliver. So I have lots of books sitting in my little library, so I can post them out. So I think Amazon is Mercy's got into the work somehow there.
Yes, well, I have a little job for Mercy while she's there. Alrighty, so anybody else before we bring,
Sam,
yes,
there's Sam.
Come, Sam.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Sam.
Hello. I just wanted to say, Renira, how proud I am of you. And it is a really beautifully written book. I found it really quite magical, and I just really couldn't put it down at all. It's a real page turner. So I'm really looking forward to getting the hard copy and revisiting that story, because it really is so special. And you're very special and so warm and loving and so deserving of huge success.
Thanks so much, Sam.
Cheers.
Oh no.
It's like, this is your life. Thank you, Sam. That's enough. Yes, that's fabulous. It's Sonny.
I did just want to add that I was beyond proud to be in the book, but to see you just brought the characters out for me, and I do struggle to read, especially off of a screen. And oh my God, I was completely lost in all the characters. I fell in love with Finn before I even met him. I was in love with, lovely Mr. Impey and Jeffrey. So your ability to bring out the story and the characters was quite wonderful. Magical is exactly the right word, Sam. So I'm beyond proud of you. So excited to be here.
And I think thank you, Sarah, so much. I think what I would say is, as you, I have a lovely friend called Annabelle Jordan, who, when she read it and then they came over for supper, she said, oh my God, she wanted to know there are about 3 pieces of music in the book. Silent Night is one of them, but we all know Silent Night. And all I would say is, when you get right to the end of the book, just put on the bit of music that it says underneath the little chapter, to immerse yourself in that very last piece. Because when you do that, it enhances the emotion of what is written there, what is the message that is coming for you. And then there is a very, very beautiful piece of music, which I'm just going ahead now. Steffi and I did this, and I've talked to my son about it. When it's made into a film, is a beautiful piece of music called Quanta Qualia by Patrick Hawes, I think he's called, Quanta Qualia. And if there was a piece of music that is a good one for Annabelle as well, that encapsulates the whole book, it's Quanta Qualia by Patrick Hawes. So there you go.
Johnny,
Perfect ending. Yeah,
sitting
Johnny.
there quietly on the couch there. I'm going to call on you because do you have a glass of champagne?
Actually, I haven't.
No, he's got a cup of tea.
I haven't. That's very dull of me, but
Okay. Well, Johnny, you are more of a Toastmaster than I am, so I'm going to invite you to step forward and maybe make a little speech and hold your cup of tea high, because I have a glass of water that's pretending to be champagne.
But that's all right.
So, Johnny, can you lead us in a celebratory toast?
Yes.
Well, I will. This comes as a surprise. First of all, Sharon, it is wonderful to see so many people from all over the world, from Thailand to South Africa,
To Sussex,
Shoreham,
to Warwickshire,
to Warwickshire, Eastbourne, you know, exotic spots. It's wonderful to see so many people sharing in the fun. And what I will say about this, it's a wonderful book. And I know it was mentioned, but it's also illustrated. The cover is completely designed and illustrated by Renira as well, and captures the atmosphere of cold and slight ghostliness and mystery. So it's like a mystery book. What's it going to be? And also to say that following Renira writing the book, I mean, it was written with tremendous energy and hard work. And as Renira would say, and I can really sort of relate to this, after a bit, I think the book took on its own energy and sort of wrote itself. Obviously, it needed encouragement from the author, but it sort of wrote itself.
Yeah.
And it's very naturally written, and the dialogue is extremely good, as well as
It's very easy to read, isn't it?
well. Let me say that.
Mhm.
I like to say that. It's very easy to read. It's very comfortable to read. The words are easy, and the story is good, and it drives itself along. It has momentum, and it has, and this I think is so important. It has rhythm, and I think rhythm is just as important for writing as indeed it is for music. So Annabelle will totally relate to that. And there's a lot of music within the book and many other things as well. So it paints pictures, and it has a mystery, and it's quite exciting too. So it's wonderful. And it's been fun for both Sarah, who's in Eastbourne, and me here. We've read the excerpts as it's been written. So it was a little bit obviously like reading lesser books written, say, by Charles Dickens, which were indeed came out as part of newspaper articles in the first place. So they were done in bits, and they were read in bits in the 19th century when those were written, masterpieces now. And this is a masterpiece now in this era, and we read it in bits. So there we are. It's rather a long speech. Sorry, everyone.
Yes.
Probably everyone wants to have their lunch.
Yeah, they do.
And,
I'll just finally say that Johnny is actually in the book. So again, not giving too much away, there is the paper chase in April 1963, and Johnny, there's a bit in the book where it says, a boy in a white t-shirt and whatever overtakes Sarah and me, just running ahead. That boy, he's called Robert, the boy Robert, that boy is my husband. And in real life, that was Johnny.
Yeah, and can I just say, I was only there because they didn't have enough boys.
And Jane, who I think is still on, Jane, you were at that party too.
Absolutely. Anyway, now what are we doing? We're
I think that's
a toast.
A toast.
A toast.
Toast to the Magpie Winter, written, read, and illustrated as Beatrix Potter would have done, and illustrated by Renira Barclay.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
It's rather nice drinking in the middle of the day.
That's my other reader.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for hosting this and asking me good questions.
You're very good. So lovely to see so many people there that I know, and also to meet the people from the book. We love
Lovely.
Finn. We want a mother Finn too. So. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Renira, if somebody wants to buy the book and Amazon are still quoting a month, how would they get
I think they get in touch with me either on my website, abovemiddlesea.com. That gives you, I think, probably, it tells you about the book, but the answer is to order from me. So my email is renira.barclay.yahoo.co.uk. I think that's probably the quickest. I mean, the post office have really got to know me, just here, the local one, and they're selling my book. And so that's rather wonderful as well. So yes. Yeah.
Renira, I am so proud of you. Beyond proud, because having written a book myself, I know how much dedication it takes to write a book. It's just the story, the characters are amazing, as are you, my darling. So thank you.
And thank you, Sharon, and remembering that you're in the next one. As is Camellia. It carries on at a school and they're all about 13, and it will be darker, but the book, I've written the first chapter. So the story continues. And Finn will be there, but not obviously at the school. So, so cheers. Thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you everybody for coming to my party, and lots of love, and I hope you enjoy the book.
Well done.
Well done,
Good.
Bella.
Well done.
As Mr Impey would say, adio and yamas.
Adio and yamas.
Adio.
Yeah, adio and yamas.
Yamas.
Off you go. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
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 Love.